Hello and welcome to Internet Personalities as Toons. I'm Chris Rivera, also known as Cross or X-Cross. For today's episode, I'll be inking and coloring one of my favorite video game reviewers, JewWario. If you've seen my other videos, then you might already notice the speed is much faster in this one than my previous installments. That's because my slow mind has finally figured out how to speed up my footages in Windows Movie Maker. Moving on to JewWario. If you frequent the site thatguywiththeglasses.com, then you might have already seen this guy's reviews. If not, then go watch them. JewWario is different from most other reviewers you might watch around the net because he reviews foreign games, specifically Japanese games for the Famicom. That's the original Nintendo from Japan, in case you didn't know that. JewWario has a wealth of knowledge for the games he reviews and talks about them in great detail. He only reviews video games he thinks that American audiences, or just non-speaking Japanese people in general, are capable of playing without having to understand Japanese text. I first came across JewWario's videos on That Guy with the Glasses when I was on the search for new reviewers to watch. His shows are called You Can Play This, and you could also watch him on YouTube at his YouTube channel JewWario. I'll put up a link to his YouTube channel in the description box. I first watched his review on Umihara Kawase, and I was hooked. The game itself is a unique platformer about a girl who fends off against giant fish creatures with a fishing rod. She clings to walls with the hook on her fishing rod and maneuvers through the levels with it. It looks like a really fun and challenging game. It makes me wish I had a Famicom and cash to spend on it. After that review, I checked out the rest of his reviews, and I love his style. Not only does he go into details about the games, but he also gives some helpful tips on playing them and some behind the scenes information about the games. Right now he is on the second season of game reviews. For this season, he's taking suggestions for games he should review. I don't know if he's still taking some suggestions for this season, but there's always next season. At the moment, let me talk a little bit about the fan art, particularly the little color palette I have on the side of the picture. What I did this time around was I created a layer specifically for different colors I want to use for the shading and lighting. If there are new timers to Photoshop or any other program, I suggest you do that. It's a good idea to mix and match colors that way before you start coloring, to help choose the colors you like to use. For example, the colors I chose for the hat, I picked one yellow color as the main flat color for the hat. In the color mixer, I chose a darker and lighter color for the yellow for shading and lighting. I checked the colors side by side to see if they look good together before I add it to the image. Remember to always have the colors on different layers in case you happen to not like the color you chose. Later on, you could always color over that certain layer and not ruin the rest of the image. Going back to JewWario again, I'm going to also mention a site that he likes to talk about in a few of his reviews. NES Reproduction is a site he mentions that actually translates old Nintendo games for American consoles. What they do is they not only give a translation from Japanese to American, but they also transfer the chips in the Japanese cartridges into the American cartridges so that you can play the Japanese titles on American Nintendo consoles. The cost for doing this is $25, and according to JewWario, is not a bad deal, especially since sometimes these games could go for a really high price due to collector's value. These games are not on the Wii's Virtual Console, so if you don't own a Famicom, then NES Reproductions may be your best solution to owning these games. If anyone is interested, I'll be sure to put up a link to the site in the description box. If I recall, the owners of the site thanked JewWario for advertising their site. JewWario is a cool guy, and if anybody is interested in Japanese games for Nintendo, or just wants to watch an in-depth and fun video game reviewer, then check out his videos on YouTube or on That Guy with the Glasses. He doesn't need to spout obscene words to be entertaining, so anyone of all ages could watch and enjoy his reviews. With that said and done, I hope you enjoy the remainder of this video, and stay tuned at the end to see who I'll ink and color next time. See ya.